Do it. Put your game face on!
Let's see how he's doing now.
Making a deal with Mark and Lori was the best thing I could have done for my company.
Get your game face on, guys. Let's go.
My dream has always been to be able to feature game faces at professional sport league games around the country. Mark made that dream come true by allowing us to give out thousands of game faces to his most loyal Mavs fans.
When we first did a deal on Shark Tank, I knew it'd be a winner, but you know, it's good to get validation. When you bring it out to the Mavs games and the kids go nuts over it, we're showing them on the Jumbotron and everybody's going crazy seeing them. This is exciting. I know Lori and I are really fired up. Showing your fan pride has just changed 180 degrees in Game Face.
We had been working on this for 5-6 years and slowly being accepted. Since Shark Tank, all of a sudden, bam, everybody wants it. In our first year of business, we did $6,700 in sales. In the 10-month period since airing, we've done $200,000 in sales. In order to keep up with demand, we had to change our manufacturing process. With the finalization of the product, we were able to project sales of $2 to $20 million in the next 12 months. The possibilities for Game Face are endless. We're going to have them in all the colors of all the different teams. Our next step is to launch licensed product from the NFL, NBA, NHL, and NCAA. We're even working with international soccer sponsors for the 2014 World Cup. Those orders could be in the millions. So many people want a small business or just have an idea. I had an idea, created a business, went in front of the Sharks, and it's changed our life beyond our wildest dreams.
Hi, I'm Doug Marshall, president of the Game Face Company, and welcome to Hempfield High School and Shark Tank.
All right, up next we have Brittany Muma and Austin Glass presenting their product, New Zeta. Brittany is a member of the ski club and student council here at Hempfield High School, and Austin is also a member of the student council as well as Minithon and Varsity Club. Their inspiration for New Zeta was their diverse ethnic backgrounds and Austin's mom's hate.
And Austin's mom's what?
Hate of cooking.
Hatred.
So our company, contrary to our competitors, we believe that the best meal is a meal shared at home with your family. Basically, our motto is the world is in your kitchen. And New Zeta focuses on this by using a subscription-based sales model to give people a complete meal they can make at home after they pick up from our business and then have a meal with their family. So instead of going out to dinner to get high quality food, they're bringing it home and using their oven or home skillet or whatever and are able to enjoy it with their family. We're giving out a sample menu, and with the menu we have 2 cultures represented. In the beginning of the week, you'll be able to, using planning software, you'll be able to plan your 3 meals for the week, and the 3 meals will cost $25, so per person. So basically, for $25, you have 3 meals covered for the week, and you're able to choose which entree you want, and you have the appetizer and dessert. It's optional. The appetizer is included. As you can see...
Sorry, am I getting 3 meals for $25 for the week?
Yeah, so...
Not $25 per meal per person? Okay.
That's the whole... We have like a subscription-based model, so it benefits us so that we know that we are going to have those sales, and we also can benefit people who are using our product because they know they're going to have 3 meals for the week or maybe their busiest nights. But we're not just a meal provider. We also like to focus on the multicultural awareness that our society shares now. So with each meal, we focus on one country, and each selection is from that country. And along with the meal, you get a fact card that will tell you about the culture. It'll share a map of the culture, and it will share you the history of the meal and where it came from. So you get multicultural awareness with your meal. It's also very good. And along with that, you also get very healthy meals that you know are healthy.
Food's a bonus if there's food in here.
This is a sample of our #1 dessert, which is the churro bites from the bakery here.
And we think that the quality of a family meal is lost a little bit in our generation. So although Nuzeta is very new in that it's bringing together multicultural awareness, we also are going back to the benefits of a family meal where you can discuss your day or how you're doing with your family in the comfort of your own home.
So we believe that this business will be successful because it's so new and unique and like nothing else. We're trying to appeal to the market, like the busy family that like is always running around. I'm sure you guys all understand what that's like. And we, as owners, work diligently to make sure that this company is successful. So for our location, we were thinking about setting up in the shopping center Outlook Commons off of Fruitville Pike. As you guys may know, that's where the Tom and She restaurant is and the Chipotle. A bunch of new things are springing up around there. But there's also Panera, which is well known throughout Lancaster, and the Barney's Bar and Grill. This is off the highway, so it's easy and accessible. And it's in the center of Lancaster near like Manhattan Township and Hempfield, where there are a lot of families to feed. And I'm sure like since these are kind of like more like wealthy schools, will get more income from the people serving them. So he had talked about the pricing. It's $25 per person, and you get like 3 meals. And then so like a family of 4, it'd be like $100 per week to get 3 meals, which is a pretty good deal, I think. Costs of running our business would be running a store, which would be smaller, not a full-size restaurant, but rather like more of a prep area, because you wouldn't be eating there. The food, obviously, the packaging, since we'd be sending it home, and the staffing. We're looking for a $75,000 investment for 25% of our company for startup money. In the future, we hope to expand to being able to deliver food to the houses instead of having people pick them up, and maybe expanding to a few other locations.
And we also, every day, we feature 2 different countries or cultures. And that's important because, like you were saying earlier, there's always one person in the family that doesn't like Mexican or doesn't like Chinese, so that person can kind of have a compromise, and hopefully they'll like the other culture, or they'll be able to try something new. So there's always that option. So if everyone looks forward to Italian night except for one person, they can go with whatever the other culture is happens to be that day. And we'll operate on like a rotating schedule so that we're sure to include every culture equally. Do you have any questions about?
Absolutely, but I enjoy another churro.
They're pretty good.
I have a couple questions. I think it's an interesting model, and it has my ears and attention, and my appetite. And the churros were very good. Okay, so a few questions. One is, so you're going to have a prep area. People are going to drive to you and pick up this food.
Yes.
And why do you think one of the reasons today in this generation, you know, like our family has a goal to eat dinner together, but doesn't always happen? Why do you think that doesn't always happen?
I'd say like just being busy and stuff, because you know, one kid has soccer practice and one kid's at like the talent shows and things. So, and there's not a lot of time to prepare food, which is why we would make it for you. And then I don't know if you read on the menu, it has times of how long it takes to like reheat it. It only takes about 20 minutes.
So do you think, given that time's an issue, do you think that delivery thing is something you ought to consider on the upfront side rather than something you'll grow into just because? Actually, I would love to be a customer, I think, if it was delivered to my door.
Yeah.
But if I had to go pick it up and drive down there and fight all that traffic, I probably can pop in some macaroni and cheese and reheat lasagna from the store.
If I could dovetail on that, are you
just dead set that you have to have the retail space that you talked about? Because retail space is gonna be more expensive. And especially the area that you're talking about right now, that's an up and coming area. So would it be possible to put this concept into a more commercial setting, which would cost far less to do? You wouldn't have to do a storefront, you wouldn't have to do all the things you'd have to do with a retail setting. But then you would have the money to possibly do the delivery that we're talking about.
I think the thing about that is that we looked at also the retail space as free advertising, especially where like Chipotle and the China, because that's a very heavy food culture area. So if you're there's a lot of people who care about what they eat, I guess you could say, who drive past that, and we look at that as free advertising as well.
It's not free if you're paying for it.
Well, that's true. I mean,
and you want to be different than that. I mean, you want me to embrace the concept of eating with my family once again, which is always difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
You said it yourself. So, if that's what you're going for, you want to break yourself away from that and be different. Because I like the concept. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great idea. I think that are you planning on doing? You said software. So basically, I would order at the beginning of the week. Here are the 3 meals.
Yeah, we were thinking of developing a app on your phone that you would have the calorie count of each meal, and you could also schedule during the week. And we would be very open to exploring the delivery and things. That's kind of a less traveled route, I think, for things like this, but we would definitely be open to considering it. And with your experience and things, then a Shark would be beneficial in expanding that part of our company.
And one of the worries that we have with delivery is, where do we stop delivering? Like the radius of how far we're willing to travel, like profit versus like gas.
Yeah, and we'd also have to explore if we would have to raise the cost.
But it could be the kind of thing where I could pick it up on the way home. And that's not not a bad concept. That's an option. I mean, save some money and
something
somebody to pick up, right?
I think that some people would be more willing to pick it up if it would save them money. But that obviously would be everyone. So yeah, we would have to explore that kind of route that we could take to deliver, and we'd have to kind of consider that. The cost per meal would probably have to be raised significantly, though.
Okay. I'm looking at your menus, great menus. I like the concept of what you guys have put together here and how it all plays out. You're going to charge me $25 per meal or per week for the 3 meals. What's your cost for the meals?
Our cost wouldn't be set per meal, but we would shop around and make sure that we're using the lowest cost meal. But if one meal obviously costs more, then later on in the week, some cultures wouldn't cost as much.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, what's the cost that you have to make each of the meals? I'm trying to figure out what the profit is per person that you're getting out of it.
It's not like a set one. It would depend on the culture, because the cost of each culture's like food would be different.
You're assuming based on your subscription model that you're going to be able to blend that out enough, assuming that people are going to be signing up for 3 or whatever that particular situation
And
is.
we would be buying, because it's a subscription, we would be buying exactly what we need to use. So there wouldn't really be the overhead.
But what would you be aiming for? Would it be like a 50% markup? Is that what you're trying to do? I mean, I'm trying to get a concept of how much profit you're really going to make out of it.
I think that we're trying to, we're not just trying to make money off of this. We want to care and we want to bring back family dinners. So I think like a 35% margin would be more realistic for per meal.
At 8, what is it, 8? You're going to charge about $8.35 a meal. And I don't know, I don't know exactly, but based on what other restaurants are giving you for $8.30 and what they're going to, and they can go with the warehouse space someplace out of the way, if they're open to that idea. And instead of spending on real estate, spend that money on billboards and marketing. Sure. And anyway. So off that $8, let's say $8.50 just to be realistic, it's costing you about $6 per meal to produce. You're making about $2.50 per meal, roughly. Is that enough meat on the bone?
Food should be opposite. I think you're supposed to run around, you're supposed to run about a one-third food cost, one-third of your retail price. So if you get a $9 meal, $3 of that, $3 of that should be your food cost.
Right, buying the food.
Buying the food, you know, you usually have another third in your labor and your overhead, and you try to shoot for a 35% margin, because out of that's gotta come your waste, and then some of your other stuff you run into, some of your other soft costs, or if your sales don't match up well enough. So that's usually the real rough formula that I think that they use in the restaurant business, you guys would see.
So is this stuff kind of like pre-made, and I just stick it in the oven and it's done in 20 minutes?
Yeah, and like the,
I mean, picking it up hot, or is it actually cold when
no,
you're getting it?
It's cold when you get it, so that you can get like a fresh made taste. Because whenever we think that it's like preheated and then reheated, it's not the same as if it's like raw ingredients put in the oven and made. And
So this is raw ingredients put in the oven and made?
yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we're not reheating, we're actually cooking.
No, yeah, some of it's pre like assembled,
Right,
as far
right,
as like marinated chicken and things, but it's basically you put it in the oven and it's out.
Okay, gotcha.
But the longest period of time I'm looking at is 35 minutes, realistically.
Yeah, so it's significantly less than if you made it yourself.
Yeah, there are, I think, there's a couple of things I think you should probably consider as you're looking at this, which is, what about the people, and what's your turnaround time? If I'm a family, I just want to give this a try. Hey, look, you know, let's do this, let's take it from, let's order from Newzada later this week, and, or even tomorrow, or tonight. I'm at work, things are busy, I'll just put a little order in, and it's done for me. Can I do one-offs? Do I really have to sign up for 3 meals a week? I think the multicultural thing, I'm going to call that cute. But are you trying to bring back family meals, or are you trying to promote some cultural thing or whatever? I think you're going to pigeonhole yourselves with a very limited menu that's focused on the culture. Probably too much. To give people 2 choices in a day, or even 3, here's the 3 meals we're offering today. I'm going to mix them up, that's great. But trying to maybe make some kind of statement is probably a little too much at the same time you're trying to build your business. The concern I would have on this, I think, is that the takeout business is going to be a big competitor for you. It's well developed, you know. I don't know if you ever heard like the takeout taxi. So even like a lot of the companies, a lot of the restaurants in our area that will actually, you know, you can go get takeout, or you don't have to go get it. You can pay somebody to go bring it to you. That never really took off, which always surprised me.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, like you can go to Symposium, you can get Chili's.
Probably like lukewarm over food until you get it. Right?
Yeah, it's lukewarm food, and so I think if
Which
you
their idea beats that.
you get people to buy into the fact that it's already prepped and it's in, and you've got something that's actually it's nutritious, it tastes good, and like you said, it's cooked right there in 20 minutes. I think you probably have something that's pretty decent. I think there is one company locally who's been doing something like this.
Yeah, I mean,
I forget the name of it.
Dream dinners.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And that's I think what really set our business apart was that we focus on. I know that they have very few options and they're all pretty like bland, and ours is really the world's in your kitchen. Basically, take your taste buds around the world. We're not just trying to give you something that you can have at home and be easy. Even though it's easier than a homemade meal, you're also benefiting on the side of having more interesting meals and kind of like learning while you're eating.
Diversifying your palate.
Yeah.
What do you think your startup costs are going to be? Or is the $75,000 you're asking for, is that all your startup cost?
No.
We had some money saved, about like $175,000. So, depending on the venues, considering you guys would like to change it, I'm guessing if you would buy in, you'd have to remodel the way that you.
And we would also rethink, if there was delivery, we have to think about the logistics of that as far as like refrigeration and things. And that wasn't really an avenue we considered as much, but if you guys were Sharks and you invested, then we definitely like to see that more. But really there wasn't the cost of like a fellow restaurant that a startup cost, because you need kitchen equipment, and then you don't really need that much decorations because really, you're just picking it up. You don't need tables, you don't need chairs, you don't need, it's not going to be open, because this focuses on dinner, it's not going to be open the whole day. So you don't have to have staffing the whole day and everything. So they go in, make the food, and then it's ready for people to take, but you don't need the significant number of staff that a restaurant would need. So I think that our startup cost would be significantly less.
So you're gonna save labor costs, you're gonna save decorating and interior costs. So a lot of that's all good to hear. You've thought that out, and I like to hear that. So what do you think the $75,000 that we are going to invest or would invest, what are you gonna use that for?
I'd say like just buying the basic kitchen stuff and like buying the initial food and getting our advertising out there, because obviously the most important thing is to be known so that we can get customers.
Yeah, advertising would be huge with a company like this, because our goal would be that word of mouth would be maybe the chief way, because if people caught on and really liked it, then like if they really like this idea, then they would tell their friends and things. But it's also important to get that initial push through the newspaper or on TV or something like that. And
So you see yourselves doing a lot of grassroots marketing, going out to fairs or, setting up a tent and letting people sample the food, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, obviously because we're very focused on like the family value.
And we would also advertise, kind of like niche advertise, in like the areas where there is kind of a more multicultural presence. So certainly through, I think like, you could even like Central Market, they have like banners and things like that, because I feel like that kind of culture that goes there would have an interest in this.
Would you guys, what do you think of the idea of having a fallback, always having a default fallback meal for a fussy kid who, isn't going to eat? I'm just thinking of my family.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah,
Like mac and cheese or something.
want like an American.
Yeah, if you just have a standard thing that's a fallback when a family orders, that's an option.
Yeah, because I know that some people are very picky and will not try something based on the name or something.
Right.
So, even though we have like 6 options every entree, but if they didn't want something, then we could definitely have a fallback menu for not only kids, but for adults.
So I think my final question, and we're willing to give these people an offer, and that is, so what demographic do you think your business model appeals to? I mean, do you think it appeals in what area of Lancaster County? Do you think you have describe the typical family you think fits?
Okay, well, I'd say we said Central Lancaster, obviously like the typical Manheim Township, Hempfield family, who has like some kids and stuff, and that needs just quick meal, 3 nights a week. That's our demographic.
And more like the suburban area.
So you need to hire, someone who's pinching every nickel and worried about what their cost is. They can buy food at the grocery store and figure it out themselves. So
It's a luxury, it's clearly a luxury.
Yeah, it's a little higher standard of living family. You need to hire them,
What's the word?
per capita income.
But the reality is, for a family of 5 like mine, to go out to Panera or to go out to Chipotle, $45 easy.
Yep.
So, if we do that because my kids are involved in so many different things, we're doing that 3 times a week, we're probably spending that easily. So I think your money, your value
Yeah, and you
is.
get an appetizer too, which the appetizer is included with each meal.
Right.
So it's not like you're fighting over the appetizer and things, then you definitely get a better value.
I like your idea, but, and in the first thing that I invested in, the 3 of us have 60% control. And one of the things that makes me nervous as an investor is investing in 25% of your company, and you guys have 75%, and then a year down the road, things go well, and you lose focus, and so I can't hold you accountable. So, I'd be willing to offer you $125,000 for 51% of your company.
Are there any other offers?
Well, first of all, I think you should take his and run. That would be, that's a great deal. I think there's some aspects of yours that are unproven. I think there's a lot of competition in that space. Though, there's a couple ideas I could see for you. Here's the deal. having a retail location, running a high overhead operation, having your own equipment and stuff like that, it is literally restaurant world recipe for disaster. I think it's a big problem. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, hey, look, you gotta improvise through things, and we have a little saying, nothing breeds innovation like starvation. So you don't have money, you gotta get through this thing. Every fine dining restaurant in Lancaster County has one thing in common, and that's between 4 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock in the morning, they're never used. I would go out, I would rent that space and rent that kitchen and those guys to prep your food, because you're selling prepared food products. Now, and they have a big problem, it's underutilized space. I would go lease space for something like that at a fraction of what you're talking about, and then I would find another place to sell it. I would wholesale your food, whether it's to people in Central Market, to some other places that either sell food, sell coffee, Centerville, the bagel place, anything along those lines. People are going to be out shopping. Grocery stores won't sell your stuff, but you have a retailer, you're gonna wholesale prepared food to people and build a little name for yourself. If you lease space like that, you can also do delivery for free, and it's not gonna kill you because your overhead is almost non-existent at that point. So if you were to go that route, I'd invest in the marketing side of what you're doing, and I think you'd probably be looking at about $50,000, and I would probably want about 40% of the business. But we wouldn't dig a hole together. Todd may give you a lot of money, it's just it's just a different approach.
I would only do a combined offer. I'm not gonna invest, by myself. I would wanna do something with all three of us again, or two of us again, only because I like what you're saying. I totally understand, and getting away from the retail space was like my first question to you. So I would agree with you as far as the rental of unused space. That's a great idea, and that's something certainly that would fit within your model. So you had done $50,000 for 40% is what you wanted. How much of the company are you willing to give up?
We had initially decided max 40%.
Because we still wanted to have heavy influence on our company, but if you would share the same goal and would be willing to advise us and kind of like take our opinion, and we could trust you that you have a similar goal to us, that you don't just want to make as much money off of this, but you also want to kind of like push this into as many people as we can, which would also result in more money, but we would also help kind of reestablish family meals as being normal and things. So we'd both be share that goal.
All right, so here's what I'll do for you then. You were going 50 to
40%.
40%.
In the low overhead.
In the low overhead model. I want to get in on that model. But you guys wanted 75,000, so I'll give you the other 25,000, but I need a piece of that 40, so we have to go up to 50. You're not.
We're going to that pool, then you gotta go to 51%. You gotta be,
I don't want them to lose control though, so I would add, because they don't want to lose control, because you guys wanted to stay below.
Because we have a lot of passion for this company, and
I get that. The other guys are willing to give up control, you guys aren't. So.
Wait, I didn't hear him say that.
Well, he just said we have a lot of passion for this company, and they said 50%, right? So if I wanted 10% for my 25,000, you're getting 40% for your 50,000.
So would you be willing to go down, Mr.?
I think your goal has to become your goal has to change. I think that what you want to do, I think, is noble, but using either your money or somebody else's money to achieve something that's non-economic outcome is probably misguided. So I think that we would have to do is sit there and have to say, hey, look, it is about, if you can't turn a dollar and if it can't produce money, you can't achieve your goal. So you have to make a profit in order to achieve your goal. And that's the.
So here's what you basically got. You got.
I just want to be honest with you on the vision side of it, because you believe in it, you're passionate about it. You've got to make sure that you will become a very passionate zealot, which will go broke in 60 days if you only do your mission, because it's got to make sense financially.